If you're familiar with real estate syndications, you've probably heard the terms 506B and 506C. To passively invest in real estate, you do need to know what these things are. So in this video, I'm going to break down what those two terms mean and why it matters. If you're new here, my name's Dan and I'm an active real estate investor on a mission to help immigrant professionals grow their wealth through real estate. If you'd like a copy of my passive investing guide, just click down below in the description. So in case you're wondering what a real estate syndication is, it's basically a way for you to combine your money with the money of other investors to purchase a property that you probably couldn't buy on your own. It's a great way for somebody to get involved in real estate in a passive way without having to be a landlord, which is not easy. It wasn't so long ago that investing in commercial real estate was really out of reach for retail investors like you and me. It was really only available to large companies, large private equity firms, the ultra wealthy and the like. Why is that? Because the opportunity to invest in commercial real estate like apartments or office buildings or warehouses, those opportunities are considered securities, and real estate operators were required to register their deals with the Security and Exchange Commission, which was a very costly and time-consuming process. If you've never heard of the SEC, that's the governmental organization in the United States that sets all the rules for investing activity. Securities are just financial instruments that have some type of monetary value. Stocks and bonds are very popular securities, as are real estate syndications. So about 10 years ago, the SEC and lawmakers decided to make it easier for commercial real estate operators to offer these kinds of syndications without having to register them or do that whole process that was very lengthy and very costly. That's when they created the popular 506B and 506C exemptions. This means that if an operator followed these rules, they were exempt from having to register these deals, which was a huge boon to this industry. The way these exemptions were written makes it a lot easier for operators to be able to offer these deals, but also attempts to safeguard those investors that are getting involved in them. It's a fine line the SEC walks because they want more of these investments available to more people, but they also want to make sure that investors are protected. Before we jump into this, you need to know the difference between an accredited investor and a sophisticated investor, because both of these terms play into how these exemptions are defined. So very briefly, an accredited investor is somebody that has a net worth exceeding $1 million, either individually or jointly with their spouse, and that's including the value of their primary residence. One can also be considered an accredited investor if they have annual income exceeding $200,000 or $300,000 jointly with their spouse over the preceding 2 years. There are other less common ways to qualify, but those are really the biggies. A sophisticated investor is a high net worth individual that meets this criteria set by the SEC. They have sufficient knowledge and experience in financial and business matters to be capable of evaluating the merits and risks of prospective investment. It's a pretty loose definition, honestly, but essentially what it means is that they don't have the net income or the net worth to qualify to be an accredited investor. So those are the two categories that these exemptions call out. If you want to learn more about what an accredited or sophisticated investor is, and if you're one yourself, just click up here to watch a video that I created on this exact topic. So now, when a real estate investor wants to offer a real estate syndication, they have to pick which exemption they're going to go for, 506B or 506C, ahead of time. Now let's dive into the differences. So the first major difference between a 506B and 506C deal is that 506B requires a pre-existing relationship. So the definition of this isn't exactly black and white, but essentially what this means is that the real estate operator that's offering the syndication should have some sort of a relationship with you prior to making this available. With a 506C exemption, that's not required. There's no pre-existing relationship. Next is advertising. So 506B deals are those that cannot be advertised. And that means they can't be put on social media. It can't be promoted in any way that anybody can see it outside of folks that are really close to them. Whereas 506C, yes, advertising is allowed. Anywhere on social media is fine, and the deal can be promoted that way. Now, what kind of people are allowed to invest in these? So accredited investors, as we defined before, can invest in either one of these, 506B or 506C. Whereas sophisticated investors can invest in 506B deals, up to 35 such investors per deal, versus the 506C where they can't invest at all. And the last difference that I want to call out is that with accredited investors, in 506B deals, they self-certify. So they can say, yes, I do have $1 million net worth, or I do make this much money, and that's good enough. With 506C, the real estate operator has to do a check to verify that that person does indeed qualify as an accredited investor, which is a little bit different. Now you can see a little bit on how this SEC is trying to protect smaller investors, because the 506B deal does allow people with a less than $1 million net worth to participate, but it limits the participation and also doesn't allow the real estate operator to go out and promote this to a bunch of folks that are lower than a $1 million net worth. So they're trying to keep it more limited for that group. Whereas with accredited investors, it's totally fine. They can take part in any of these. And this is a way for the SEC to make it easier, but also put some guardrails around it to make sure that they're protecting especially sophisticated investors who may have a lot of financial savvy, but may not have the net worth to qualify as an accredited investor. So now you can see the differences between a 506B and 506C designation and what that means to a specific deal. So you can understand, as you get involved in investing in these, how, whether you're accredited or you're sophisticated, how you can take part and which ones you can take part. If you're a sophisticated investor, you can't invest in a 506C deal, and now you know why. So I hope you found value in this video. If you did, please click the like button. It's your engagement with this video and any other that'll show YouTube that this is valuable content for investors. So thanks for watching the Immigrant Wealth Channel.